Welcome back to the Couch Potato Show. Back again with the boys for episode 28. How we doing?
Fantastic.
Lovely.
So this week we got a big week for college basketball. We made our college basketball picks last week with Mr. Max. He came on for a little guest appearance last week. What we forgot to do, and we're gonna do this week, real quick, because we did it for college football, so I thought it would only be fair to do it for college basketball too. We're gonna pick a Final Four, and then we're also going to pick a national champion. So we'll get to that in a minute. Picks from last week. Big points in the ring. Jake Paul took down Nate Robinson, so a point for each of us. And then the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. fight ended in a no decision or a draw, whatever you want to call whatever happened. So no points there. Me and Frank should have gotten a point because Mike Tyson should have won the fight, but
we are all in agreement there.
Yeah, but Eric did pick up a point though with Phil Mickelson and Charles Barkley winning the match 2.0 against Steph Curry and Peyton. So congrats, Eric. You got a point there. And then all of us got a point for picking Alabama in the Iron Bowl over Auburn. So let's get to college basketball picks for this week. We'll do the Final Four and the national champion. So Frank, why don't you start us off with your Final Four?
Are we going to go one, or so I just say all of them?
Just say all of them.
Okay. So I'm going to get Gonzaga because they're loaded this year. They had an injury scare last night with Jalen Suggs, but he came back in the second half, and they got Corey Kispert, and they're just really good. I got Illinois because they got my player of the year pick in AU. And then I got Iowa because they got Luka Garza going off. They're pretty even scoring, but they haven't played anybody yet, so I'm waiting for them to actually play a good team and see what they're made of. And then because it's March Madness, you got to pick a sleeper team. I'm going to pick Richmond. I like how they played Kentucky the other night, and their defense is going to carry them and see what happens.
Good picks all around. Eric, what about you? Who's your Final Four?
The Final Four, let's see if I can find it. So I'm going Villanova. I'm going Virginia.
Okay.
Gonzaga, as Frank said, they're stacked. And I'm going Baylor. You know, I love me some, what the hell is his name? You tell how much I love him based on how I know his name off the top of my head. Yeah, that guy. Great.
Joe Slobodnik.
Slobodnik.
Do you mean Butler?
Yeah, that bastard.
Jared Butler.
Okay. So my Final Four, I have Gonzaga. That was the consensus. Number one right now. I agree with Frank with Iowa. Luka Garza, I think, is going to take him pretty far. My player of the year. And then you have to go reliable. I think Duke will figure out a way to put some together and make a run at the Final Four. And I really like Kentucky this year. They have a lot of young studs on the team. Had a really good recruiting class this year. Haven't been 100%. They haven't looked like a Final Four team at the start of the season this year. But I think Coach Cal, I think they're going to put it together somehow.
I think it'll be like really interesting how they figure out how to win in tight games and in close situations, because you saw against Richmond the other night that they just didn't have the experience and the go-to guy to like bring them back, and the league kept growing for Richmond. So it'll be interesting how they develop like that. But anyone could do it. It's Coach K. So.
All right, so Frank, who's your
Coach Cal. I'm gonna take Gonzaga. You know, I watched them play against Kansas. They played really well against Kansas. They're stacked. Like I said before, they got Suggs, they got Kispert, and I didn't even mention Timmy, the big man who's leading them in scoring with over 23 points a game. So I think the only knock I have against them is that they don't play in a great conference. So it'll be interesting how they figure it out in conference play. I figure they're going to blow out teams, but I think there's a possibility that they kind of slack off a little bit in conference play and try to pick it up again in March, which is always interesting to see. But I think they have the best shot.
Eric?
I'll take Baylor. I really like Baylor. Like Butler.
Big Baylor guy.
Big Baylor guy.
Played well last night, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick to the same track Frank's on. I'm gonna go with Gonzaga. I just think they have too good of a team to not finally get that national championship that they've been chasing all these years. Yeah, I think they've been really good in the games that they've played at the beginning of the year this year against ranked teams. So I think that'll carry them to that top seed in the tournament with with the track record that they have. Conference play, obviously, they're going to smack everybody, but it'll be interesting to see once they get to the tournament.
Really excited for that game on Saturday.
Yeah, that's good. That's going to be a big game for March.
Big implications, yeah.
March implications. But speaking of Saturday, let's go to the football field, and we've got a hell of a game for college game day this week. I believe it is number 18 ranked Coastal Carolina and number 13 ranked BYU, based on the college football playoff rankings. Originally supposed to be Coastal Carolina versus a Liberty team that was probably ranked 26 if you had a top 26. But because of COVID, Liberty will not be playing and BYU will be stepping in. So big game for both teams because BYU hasn't really gotten much respect from the playoff committee because they haven't really played anybody. But they are undefeated and they do have Zach Wilson, who's a Heisman candidate. And I think if they win this game against a ranked Coastal Carolina team, I think that could really bump them into the playoff conversation. They won't make it, but they'll be like UCF from a couple of years ago, team that won't get enough respect because they don't play anybody, but a team that could probably be and have an argument for a 4 seed. And then Coastal Carolina too. They haven't really played anybody this year either. And if they win this game, that's going to do a lot for their program. Probably won't have any college football playoff chances, but it'll do a lot for them because this is the first time they've been ranked.
This is why I don't like the 14 college football playoff format.
Yeah, this game is really going to show why we should have an 8-team playoff.
Yeah, I think if you're not like a big blue blood school, quote unquote, like you're never going to make the college football playoff, which is why I think it's dumb. But
yeah. Anyway, Frank, I'll start with you for picks. BYU and Coastal, who you got?
I'm going to take BYU. I think, like you said, Zach Wilson's having a Heisman season. This team averages 47 points a game. Their offense is incredible. But again, like you said before, like the best team they played is Boise State, and they killed Boise State, but Boise State isn't like a top contending team. So I think it'll be interesting how they play against another good team. Coastal is better than Boise State, so I think it's going to be fun to watch when they play a team this could be the best game of the season. So I think it'll be fun to watch how they react.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm going to ride that Wilson wave as well. Over 2,700 yards. He has in the year 26 touchdowns and only 2 picks. Heisman hopeful, and I'll take them.
There's the strategy.
I'm going to make things interesting, like I always do. And I'm going to go with the dumb pick. I gotta go with the home team, Coastal. I think Coastal, with their first time on College Game Days, they're gonna show up. This is one of the. I watched the thing that College Game Day did earlier in the week on them, and this is one of the most entertaining teams that you could possibly have. Team that came from basically nothing, and is now an undefeated team in the college football playoff rankings. So. I think they're gonna pull off the upset here over Zach Wilson and the Cougars. So next picks, because we got the NBA season next week.
Somehow.
Next Friday.
It's next Friday already? Jesus.
Yeah.
Was it off season like a month?
Yeah. Well, for some teams,
Yeah, well, for some teams it was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and some teams it was like
almost
6
9
months?
months.
9, yeah, something like that.
The Knicks are very rested up. We're
Look for the Knicks to play well. They're very
not
rested.
fatigued.
All right, so first, like we do with all the other sports, we'll do the championship matchup, the champion, and then all the big individual postseason awards. So we'll start off with the NBA Finals matchup. And Frank, we'll start with you.
Coming out of the East, I'm going to take the Bucks. I like the addition of Drew Holiday. I think he's a better shooter than Eric Bledsoe was. He's a much better defender, and the Bucks need defense. That's just how they play. So I'm going to take the Bucks. Also like Bobby Portis. So out of the West, I'm going to pick the Lakers. They're the best team in basketball. They somehow got better from last season when they breached the playoffs. They got Dennis Schroeder now. They got I'm already forgetting. Marcus Gasol. They added Montrezl Harrell. So this is the best team. So I got to take the Lakers out of the West.
Eric,
Mr. Matthews.
Yeah, I have the Lakers coming out of the West as well. They're great. Like you said, made a lot of good acquisitions. They have LeBron, they have AD. Don't get too cute with it, you know. But here's what I'm going to do. And this is risky because this team, you guys
coming out of the East.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you're close. Geographically speaking, you're close. It's going to be the Nets.
Oh, okay. All right.
Watch. I got a lot of faith in Steve Nash. I'm a big fan of his. I don't need to sell KD to anyone on earth. I don't know. I just like this
injury coming off of an injury is going to be interesting.
It is, but this is a deep roster. Even last year, I don't know. I just enjoy watching this team. There's more to them than just the two-headed monster. There truly is.
Eric, I like the way you think. I'm going to go the same direction. I think it's going to be Lakers Nets in the finals. Kevin Durant, it's just hard to see him not playing in the finals and taking that team very far, especially with the East. It's not very strong. So I think the Nets will also make a big splash for somebody sometime before the trade deadline.
It's not going to be Bradley Beal, I'll tell you that.
It's not going to be Bradley Beal because he's happy now, but we'll get into that in a minute. But maybe James Harden, if James Harden wants out or still wants out.
Again, I don't think we could talk about it.
Yeah, but I think they're going to do something to make that team a little better, see where they're at in the beginning of the season. But I think they're definitely going to put together a team that can make it run late. So, Frank, you got Lakers, Bucks. Who you got winning the championship?
You got to take the Lakers.
Eric?
Yeah, Frank's a lame duck, but so am I.
Yeah, I don't want to, but by far the best team.
It's all right. I'm gonna make it a lame, boring sweep. I think they repeat for no more special cute reason than they have two of the top 5 players in the entire league. So,
and the top 2 vote getters from 6th Man of the Year last year.
Yeah,
and the GOAT.
Yeah, and the greatest player to ever put on a basketball jersey. But Alex Caruso, I'm talking about, by the way.
Of course. What else would you be talking about?
All right. NBA MVP. Frank, who you got?
I'm gonna take Luka this year. This man averaged 28, 9, and 8 as a sophomore in the NBA. I think he takes a giant step forward this year, third year. They added Josh Richardson, which will have him on the defensive end, and he's not Seth Curry, so he can't shoot as well, but I think that he would be a great addition to that team, and I think that he just has the best odds. I don't think Giannis wins it 3 years in a row, especially because he still can't shoot, hasn't changed, and I think they want the voting. It's a popularity contest, so I think the voting want to go somewhere else. They want to try to move the European market over there, so I think they're going to pick Luka this year.
Eric?
Yeah, I hate to agree with Frank, but so much of the MVP race is narrative driven. Like 95% of things in life, no one cares about the facts, no one cares about numbers, no one cares about anything. It's all narrative, and you could just see Luka's stock going boop boop boop, and it's gonna hit that high point this season, and people love him. It just, I don't know, it just makes the most sense on paper. They're not gonna give it to LeBron, they're not gonna give it to Giannis. Again, it just makes the most sense on paper for it to be Luka, and like Frank said, it's a business. They like the European market.
You guys are forgetting about somebody. Probably one of the arguably the best player in the world right now, Kevin Durant. I think he's gonna have a big year. There's no
On Achilles, KD I don't think we'll win MVP.
less. It's Kevin Durant. So
I'm not saying he's not talented. I
Kevin
just don't think
Durant
he's going
without
to
an
play well enough to
Achilles
win an
still
MVP.
better than 99% of the NBA. So
Sure, but I don't think he's going to win MVP.
I like the pick. I like it.
I think if the Nets make a run, I think the MVP could go to KD. I believe Rookie of the Year is next. Frank?
You guys know who I got to pick. I got to pick my guy, Anthony Edwards, for my Timberwolves. They need him to make the playoffs. I think they can make the playoffs, and they're going to need his scoring. I'd like to see him improve on defense, obviously. I'd like to see him improve in his work ethic because it kind of scares me, if we're being honest. But I think that he's the most talented player. LaMelo has a great case, but like I said before, when they picked LaMelo, he's either going to be really good or absolutely terrible. So I think the odds are better for Anthony Edwards to win.
Eric?
Made is a bit bolder, but I'll take my guy Jamesy Boy out of Golden State. I think he's so solid. I think this is finally the year the Golden State Warriors are going to have a big man they could depend on. I got really, really high, lofty expectations for him. I think he's going to deliver right away.
Yeah, I originally had Wiseman as my Rookie of the Year, but then I realized that Wiseman's one of those guys that he's not going to win a ton of awards. And he's not going to get a ton of recognition just because of how he plays. He's not a big shooter like a lot of the centers are nowadays that are getting the recognition. So I don't think he's going to get it. Centers don't usually get Rookie of the Year either. I think it's going to be a Tyrese Halliburton kind of year.
Great pick. Great pick.
Thank you. I think he's probably, obviously him and De'Aaron Fox, but he's one of the very few bright spots that the Kings have right now. And Tyrese Halliburton is one of the guys that I think coming into the draft was the most NBA ready. So I think he's going to ball out this year and absolutely go off on the NBA. Coach of the Year, Frank?
I'll take Brad Stevens. I think he's the best coach in the NBA. I think the Celtics take another step forward this year. They added Jeff Teague, one of the top backup point guards in the league. And I think Jason Tatum takes a big step this year, solidifies himself as a top 10 player in the NBA. And I think the Celtics are a 2 seed in the East. So I think that'll lead to Brad Stevens being coach of the year.
Eric?
Yeah, me and Maines talked about it earlier. It's Steve Nash is going into an Aaron Boone-like situation here. It's a loaded roster. He doesn't even need to do well. He just can't screw up royally. And I think Steve Nash is capable of that. So I'm going to go Steve Nash.
This was a tough one for me.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a lot of good coaches.
There's a lot. You could go with a guy that's going to bring a team to success like Steve Nash, or you could pick a guy that's already on a great team like a Budenholzer or something. I'm gonna go kind of in the middle. I'm gonna go with a Nick Nurse when going back to back. I think or back to back. I think.
Did he win it 2 years ago? I don't remember.
He did.
Well, they won the championship, so probably
doesn't matter. Yeah, I think he did. So 3-peat for my man Nick Nurse. Frank, NBA's 6th man of the year.
We're gonna go a little bit odd with this one, but I like Davis Bertans out of Washington Wizards. He shot 43% from 3-point last year. He averaged 15 coming off the bench, and I think he finished like 8th or something last season in 6th man of the year voting. And they got Russell. Well, we'll talk about Russell Westbrook later. I think he's a great addition for them, especially for Davis Bertans, because he's a shooter. That's what he does. Latvian laser. That's what they call him. So I think he'll have a big impact on that team this year, and hopefully they make the playoffs. Who knows?
Eric?
Yeah, as you guys know, I'm a big poker man. I love me some poker. And this year, besides KD winning the MVP, I'm going all in on the Nets. Spencer Dinwiddie, solid individual. Why not?
You'd think that Eric hates the Nets, being a Knicks fan.
It's another conversation for another day. But anyone who hates sports teams based on geography or like random divisional alignment needs to like hit puberty again in the mind. Ridiculous.
Listen, you can't tell me that you don't hate every Boston sports team just because.
Wait, hold on, Eric. What? What hockey team do you hate the most?
Listen.
Gotcha.
No. But here's the thing. That's a coincidence. That is absolutely a coincidence. Listen. It's not that simple, though. I'm from the New Jersey area. Listen, I'm from the I loved the Patriots when they had Brady and Belichick. I loved them. They were like my second favorite team in the league. I get it. Yeah, you're a Jaguars fan. It doesn't matter, man.
All right, well, who do you hate most in the NFL?
NFL. I don't care. The Jaguars. That's who I hate the most.
Okay, the NFL. There's no regional thing really. Like it's not.
Yeah,
well, no, I agree. I think the biggest one's baseball because that's just a thing.
Who cares though? I don't care. I don't care about the Red Sox. You guys probably are like, oh, I hate them.
But I hate them. I hate them with every being of my soul.
What's the knock on Boston? Their fans are obnoxious. You ever been to a Yankee game? We piss on people. Like weird.
I was there. They did throw popcorn on an Astros fan. Yeah. Actually, I might change my mind to Astros. I don't know.
I don't care. I don't care about hanging. It's hockey's. I get it.
Hockey.
It's coincidence. Okay. every other major sport, I don't care. I don't care.
There's not a ton. I mean, you can't. There's no real like. NBA rivalries are more like East versus West.
Yeah.
And not really regional. Just because
I think the NBA ones are more like personnel and not regional. Like, say you have like a guy that leaves, like KD did. So like, say you have KD in OKC and then he goes to Golden State, and then immediately everybody hates Golden State. So I think it's more personnel than geography.
That is something I could absolutely accept. If you don't like a team because of the players on there, God bless you. More power to you. Honestly, that's why you should dislike and even like teams. But I don't know. As Jerry Seinfeld says, we root for the laundry. So I guess we root against the laundry too. Sports fandom's a confusing thing.
All right. So anyway, where were
back to our conversation?
You got Dinwiddie.
He fit Dinwiddie, yeah.
Yeah. So I was going between two guys. I was going between Kevin Huerter.
It's a good pick.
For the Hawks, but then I realized that the Hawks will probably have an injury somewhere, and Huerter will all of a sudden not be a sixth man. So I had to go reliable again. I'm going with Lou Will.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Could we call the sixth man the dumbest award in sports? Are we allowed to do that?
I think it's stupid. There's no it's not like a video game where like you define roles. Like no one has a role of sixth man.
I know.
I think it's dumb.
You're really good, but you're not that good. You're not good enough to be in the starting five, but you are the best. You are the smartest Kardashian.
It's like the wild card team in the playoffs.
It's dumb.
You're the best of the worst.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Well, then you have guys like Lou Will last year who averaged 20 off the bench, and there's people in the starting lineup that aren't even averaging like 10.
Well, yeah.
You want to know what I would do? I would, if I'm the Lakers, the tip-off, call a timeout right after the tip-off, then put in LeBron every single time. Sweep sixth man of the year awards for the rest of eternity. Going out at 70 years old, he's winning that award.
All right.
Would it be close?
Yeah.
Let's get to a award that's not as controversial. Defensive Player of the Year, Frank. Who you got?
I'm gonna take LeBron's teammate. I'm gonna take AD. I like the momentum he built in the bubble last season. I think he was the best defender in the bubble. Giannis didn't play that well, if we're being honest. And I think he takes a step forward this year again. He just signed a massive deal this morning. Maybe a little bit extra motivation, but we'll see. I like Anthony Davis. He's probably the best center in the NBA. If you want to call him a center, I know he doesn't play center, doesn't like center, but I think he's a center. So I'm going to take AD.
Eric?
I'm going to take Mr. I touch all the microphones because I think I'm funny. And Rudy, congrats, buddy. You started a quite
the
crap show, but your boy, can you block a basketball?
Congrats, idiot. You shut down the entire NBA, but you can stop people from scoring.
Well, he held everyone scoreless for months. That's impressive.
I'm gonna go pretty boring here as well. I'm gonna go with what Frank said with Anthony Davis. I don't think Giannis is gonna do it again. I think he's gonna realize that the Bucks need to actually go far, and for that to happen, he needs to play offense. So I think Anthony Davis is gonna focus a lot on defense this year, and he's gonna get it. Because I just lost all faith in Rudy Gobert. He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's a shithead.
So there was a trade that happened yesterday. Frank, what was the trade?
It was Russell Westbrook to the Wizards for John Wall and a first-round pick.
Indeed.
Thoughts?
Stupid.
For who?
Stupid for both teams. The Rockets didn't get any value out of Russell Westbrook. He's a top 5 point guard in the league when he's healthy. And all you get is an injured John Wall and a first-round pick in 2023, I think it is. And even then, the Rockets have proved that they need shooting around James Harden. And Russell Westbrook's not a good shooter, but John Wall isn't that much better of a shooter than Russell Westbrook is. So I think it's dumb. For the Wizards, yeah, you got Russell Westbrook. He's a top 5 point guard, like I just said. So it works for the Wizards, and they don't have injured ass John Wall. But for the Rockets side of this, I don't understand it at all, personally.
Eric, you have any thoughts?
I could really see an environment change benefiting John Wall. I get it, the injuries are a big part of it, so it's a little bit different than your normal, get Stephon Diggs out of Minnesota to Buffalo. It's not quite that cut and dry. But I could see it working out for both teams, sort of. Maybe I'm just playing devil's advocate for the sake of it. But to see a renewed John Wall with a new chip on his shoulder, if you will, and if we're going to name a winner in this trade, I think it's the Wizards. That much I'll say. I think Russell Westbrook is fantastic. Bit of an a-hole, but that doesn't count against you in the scorecard.
Can't shoot in a bit of an a-hole, but other than that.
Yeah, there you go. I think the Wizards won the deal, but time will tell.
Yeah, I think it's a big risk for the Rockets. I think they have a lot to lose when it comes to this deal. I think they obviously, like Frank said, could have gotten a lot more for Russ. But if John Wall plays like John Wall, like the old John Wall that we all know and love, I think this could work.
It would be so much fun. I miss John Wall so badly.
Oh yeah,
I think everybody does.
That's a big risk to take, being that he is so injury prone, and coming off a big injury. So I think the Wizards won this deal big time, just because Russell Westbrook, when he can play and be the star, is one of the best players in the NBA. And we saw that when he won the MVP a couple years ago. So I think he'll also complement Bradley Beal really well, which is what the Wizards have been waiting for. And I think Bradley Beal is not good enough to be that number one guy, but he's good enough to be that that sort of Chris Middleton kind of role, where he can be that number one role player kind of guy. So I think it'll work out well for the Wizards, probably not for the Rockets.
I think the most fun storyline of this entire trade is the fact that John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins get to play again, because back at Kentucky, those two were incredible. So I think that would be fun. And again, I would love to see another John Wall reincarnation like he was 5 years ago or so, because when he was healthy, he was a top 3 point guard in the NBA probably.
Oh yeah.
So I would love to see him play like that again, but I don't see it happening because we haven't seen him play in 2 seasons. So I don't know what you can expect out of him. When I see Russell Westbrook win an MVP, be a top 5 point guard, make the playoffs and all this stuff. So I don't see the point of this for the Rockets, especially when you get one pick out of it, when the Wizards were probably willing to give up more because it's Russell Westbrook. So I don't get it personally. But.
Yeah. And they also, the NBA also released the Christmas Day matchups. And I'll pull them up here in 1 second. So the NBA on Christmas Day, we got at noon Eastern, Pelicans versus Heat. Going to be a great game. And then at 2:30, we got Warriors and Bucks. At 5 o'clock, Nets and Celtics. Kyrie going against his former team. At 8, we got LeBron versus Luka with Mavericks at Lakers. And then at 10:30, we got Clippers Nuggets rematch of the Western Conference Finals. What do you guys think is the most intriguing matchup out of all of those?
I'm gonna go with Lakers Mavericks. I like the LeBron Luka matchup, but I even like the Porzingis AD matchup even more than that. So I think it's going to be like a passing of the torch kind of game. Not that LeBron's out of like he's still the best player in the NBA, but I think Luka is the next best player in the NBA. It's not going to be Giannis. He doesn't play the way that modern NBA is supposed to play. So I think Luka is going to be the best player someday, and I think LeBron is still the best player. So I think it'll be a really good game.
Eric, what about you? What are you excited
Yeah, Frank sucks. I was gonna build up this whole thing between LeBron.
I can take Nets and Celtics if you want, because I think that's the second most interesting game.
Yeah, no, I guess it is, but I really am interested in not only LeBron Luka, but I'm a big KP guy going back to his Knicks days. I really enjoy him as a player. I don't have an obligation to him because he was once a Knick. I enjoy him as a player.
Did you boo when they picked him?
What you saying?
Did you boo when they picked him?
Everyone did.
First of all, I wasn't there. So what do I sit at home? Oh, you suck! Like, yeah, what does that do for me? You know, I cursed out Phil Jackson under my breath at home. That's all I did.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. No, it's the I don't know. I think KP is still underappreciated and underrated in this league, and I think he is a few game stretch away from being elevated to something that I think I knew he could have been even on the Knicks.
This is probably going to be the bias in me, but I think I'm going to have to wake up before noon on Christmas. I think Heat and the Heat and the Pelicans. It's not the most star-studded matchup. You don't have your LeBrons or Giannis or Steph Curry or whatever, Kawhi. But you have Zion, and you have a Heat team that went to the finals last year, and you got a Pelicans team that now has Kyra Lewis and has
you and Kyra Lewis, bro.
Look, Kyra's a god. I'm telling you, Kyra's a god. But you got a Pelicans team that actually starting to put something together, and a Zion with an entire season. Going to be very exciting to watch. Also, they have Lonzo. Love Lonzo.
Now, I'd love to see a Pelicans Hornets matchup.
Well, or Pelicans Pistons.
Or Pistons now, yeah.
Well, you get the Hornets and Pistons, I think, twice this year. So
yeah, I think the Celtics Nets game is interesting again because of Kyrie, again because of KD, Jason Tatum matchup. I think that'll be interesting. I don't know who the better team is. I think the Celtics have more star power because they have Kemba Walker.
The Celtics right now are the better team, but I think the Nets.
Yeah, I think the Nets could be the better team. But I have a feeling that Kyrie in Brooklyn is not going to work out because it hasn't worked out in the other team he's been on. So I don't know why this would be any different. And it didn't work out the first season because he threw his teammates under the bus in the first 3 weeks. So I think KD is going to have to hold them together. But we'll see what happens.
Another question I have for you guys is with the NBA season coming up, and I'll go to Eric first. What are the
answer again?
Huh?
So I don't steal his answer again.
Yeah, because you seem to do that a lot. What do the Clippers have to do to compete with the Lakers this year? And I'm gonna have you guys answer this while I plug in my laptop, which is about to die.
That is a great question, and I think Kawhi needs to play even better. I think he needs to be the MVP this season. I don't think it'll happen, but I think in a world where they are LA's premier team, Kawhi Leonard needs to play out of his mind on both sides of the court and be the face of the NBA, which he has the potential to be. He's proven he has the potential to be. But this season needs to be defined by his play if the Clippers want to make a run at this and compete with their older brother Lakers.
I agree with that. I think, period, Kawhi needs to play. He can't sit out a bunch of games with load management. I think it's kind of bullshit. Yeah. Paul George did the same thing. But I think the number one reason for me that they need to improve is creating an actual culture there. Like you hear players that leave the Clippers, like Montrez, say that they had star treatment from Kawhi and PG, where the other players are kind of not treated like crap, but they weren't treated equally to the other guys. So they didn't really have a culture there where everyone was in it for everyone. It was kind of Kawhi, PG, and then everybody else. So I think the Lakers do this very well, and that's probably why they won the championship this year, is that 1 to 15, those guys are all the same. Whether it's LeBron, AD, Jared Dudley, or Alex Caruso, they're all the same guy. Clippers don't have that. They have Kawhi, PG, Lou Williams if he wants to go get some buffalo wings, and I don't remember if that was Lou Williams. I think it was Lou Williams. And then everybody else. I could be mistaken for somebody else.
Could we talk about the thing with how PG and fucking Kawhi got special treatment? Why is this shocking?
Well, I think it was Doc Rivers mainly, because he's kind of done that in the past, which is one of the reasons why the Celtics locker room years back with their big three with KG and Rondo and Paul Pierce didn't work out long term. Also because they were old, but that's why it was such a surprise when they won the whole thing, because that locker room didn't like each other. So coming in, and I think Paul George did an interview a couple of days ago where he said he wasn't surprised they lost when they were up 3-1. He wasn't surprised they lost that series, because that entire locker room was going into it thinking, okay, we're up 3-1, we'll just win the next game and it'll be done. And then they were up 3-2 and they were like, okay, we'll just win the next game and it'll be over. And they were up 3-3, tied 3-3. You're like, oh, well, they're not going to put up three wins in a row against us. So
they were still like, oh, we're in control. We got this series.
Yeah. So there was no real firepower in that locker room, which getting Doc out of there with his track record of losing 3-1 leads, and I think that's definitely gonna bode well for the locker room. And Kawhi doesn't need to be in the spotlight when it comes to a locker room. Like he's one of those guys that'll
he never is and he never will.
He'll show up. Doesn't need to all the attention. He'll show up and he'll ball out and he'll do what he needs to do and go home. Paul George, I feel like he needs to work on that. I think he needs to kind of lower himself a little bit and be more of a team guy. But that's like Frank, like you said, I think that's the big thing they need to work on.
Well, you hear stories of the Clippers last season where Kawhi and PG had their own trainers that were personal to them and only they could use them. And then there were stories that when Kawhi or PG didn't want to practice, they just canceled practice for everybody. And you're like, I get that they're superstars, like Eric said. Like there's LeBron, there's Luka, there's Giannis, there's Kawhi. There's superstars in the league. But when it gets to the point where you have your players like not making other people better, that's when you have the issue that the Clippers had where they just blow leads and they don't have guys step up when they need them to step up. So that's why I think the Clippers aren't on the same level as the Lakers even this season, because again, the Lakers got better, and two, they actually have a culture in Lakers town. So.
Well, I also think that LeBron's the face of the whole special treatment deal, but LeBron can back it up. Like LeBron can be he can be a role player, he can be the face of the franchise, he can be the head coach all in one game.
And the GM.
All at once. And that's what makes him arguably the greatest of all time.
And again, you don't see LeBron just sitting out games. Like he doesn't do that. He threatened to do it this year because they started earlier or whatever. But he's never going to do that. The only reason LeBron sits out of games is if he's injured, which also rarely happens. I remember the one time he was injured was against the Spurs in the finals. He like got a cramp in his hamstring or something.
Yeah.
And with the groin a couple years ago with the Lakers. So that's the only time LeBron's been injured. So he doesn't sit out games. He never does. And Kawhi and PG are just like, I'm feeling a little tired. I'm not going to play them. I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. But for me, the fact that anyone is amazed by this special treatment is so quizzical. That is quizzical to me. In our society, in our American culture, since like middle school, we're like telling these kids, you're the greatest thing ever. You're so good. You're an athlete. You don't have to do your work. You don't have to do anything. Oh my God, you could really play this children's game well. We breed monsters, and these guys become adults, and they're in the NBA, and they're monsters, and they're egomaniacs. And this is why you see, there's a wider, more serious issue. But you see guys acting and their actions are so irresponsible, so silly, and if the average American were to do this, they'd be arrested. But these guys, it's amazing. It's amazing the entitlement of some of these players. It's sickening, but it's.
But again, it gets to a point where you just can't think that you're better than everybody. Like there's star players and they get special treatment. That's fine. That's how the world is, like you said. But when it gets to the point that people are questioning your skill on the court and how much you're dedicated to your craft, like they have with Kawhi and Paul George, that LeBron, they don't question if LeBron wants to play basketball. They never have, and they never will. But when you say, "Oh, PG just seems out of it," I understand that he went through like the mental stuff, which of course is, it is what it is. But I think that you can't have them questioning if they're dedicated to basketball. I think that's where the entitlement has to be drawn. I think it's a line.
So I think we should move on, just because spent a lot of time on this, but
Other things to talk about.
We do have other things to talk about. One of those things being last night's football game. Yes, there was a football game on Wednesday night. Actually, Wednesday afternoon game.
Yeah, it was like 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, Steelers Ravens making up their Thanksgiving game from a week ago because of COVID reasons. Finished the longest week in NFL history. So the Steelers are still undefeated. Number 1 seed in the AFC as of now. Eric, I'll ask you first, so Frank can steal your answer. But who is your favorite in the AFC right now? Is it the Steelers? Is it the Chiefs? Or is it somebody else?
Let me put it to you this way, Tyler. It's whoever the refs want it to be. Because I was watching that game yesterday, and I thought I was going to throw up. I felt so sick watching that game. I watched the first half, and I was like I gotta go for a walk to cool down. This is so ridiculous. The end of the first half, the Ravens were like on the 2-yard line or something, and they were gonna clock the ball at the end, or either way, have more time to go for a play or something. And the Steelers were laying on the ball, and you could see Steelers defenders being like, just come over here, lay on him. Who cares? How that wasn't a delay of game penalty? What do we do? Why do we play the games if we're not going to play by the rules? This is with anything. I don't want to play Monopoly with you. If you roll a 3 and you're, I'll move it 5 spaces. I don't want to play. And I'm like getting so sick of the NFL. Just truly, I'm like, I love football. I love it so much. But there's not a worse league on the face of the earth. The rules are terrible. It's corrupt. It is so obvious that the refs are like, what's a more appealing storyline? RG3 gets a win or the Steelers stay undefeated? What makes us more money? We're going to give the itch to the Steelers. And like, this sounds like conspiracy nonsense, but anyone who watched that game who has half a brain and wasn't drunk out of their mind could see like, oh, we're just going to give the Steelers every single call. Why not? Why not? It helps us. So, Tyler, and I mean this in all sincerity, whatever the way the wind fucking blows, whatever way the refs want it to go, whatever Goodell tells them in their little pregame notes, this is who we want to win. That's who's going to win. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it.
Well, especially that the first down call when the football was like this far away from the sticks.
What was that? What was it, Tyler? How do you explain that to anyone watching? I didn't even mention that there's the delay of game. There's the first down.
I didn't watch the game. I didn't hear any. I heard about the delay of game. I didn't hear about the first down though.
Oh my god, it was.
Should I look it up? Hold on, I'll look it up.
Yeah,
because like, you know how the football when they bring the sticks out, if any part of the football is past the sticks, they give them a first down, right?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ.
So the marker was here. Yeah.
Come on, guys. Come on.
At least 2 inches.
Dude, I could see the green. I could see the turf in between.
Yeah.
Come on. Really?
That was despicable.
They only won by 5 points. They won by 5 points.
Yeah. I don't want to get too hung up on this, but also the Seahawks and Eagles played, and the spread on the game was plus 6.5. 90% of bettors bet Seahawks minus 6.5. And they were up by like 12 or something. I don't know, or like 13 points. And the last drive doesn't matter. Carson Wentz can't throw a football the entire game. And then the last drive, he looks like a god. He looks so good. They just drive down the field, no problem, get an easy touchdown. And the kicker of that entire game, not kickers and Justin Tucker, the cherry on top, if you will. Do yourself a favor, watch the 2-point conversion in that game, the final 2-point conversion. The Eagles put it in, and the defense was like, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna have dinner. I'm gonna watch. What show should I watch on Netflix? They didn't play that. Like, everybody stood there. They went for the 2-point conversion. I get it. I understand. Blah blah blah. They're gonna win either way. But doesn't this just line up way too much to say, like, the NFL has a chance to make 90% of people lose bets?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. It is insane. Watch the 2-point conversion. You, like, put this on our Instagram story or something. He just runs in. The guy just runs, and some defenders, like, are acting, but others are, like
now, I noticed that Eric actually hasn't answered the question.
No, he did. He said whoever the refs want to win.
Oh, okay. So I guess he did technically answer the
Clearly,
question.
it's the Steelers.
Yeah.
It's a fact who you got.
Now, my answer is going to be towards the play, which Eric is not wrong. I completely agree with Eric. But I'm going to go with the play. And the facts are the Steelers haven't played anybody. They beat a third-string quarterback yesterday by 5 points in RG3, who's terrible.
And Trace McSorley.
The GOAT.
Number 1 passer rating in the NFL right now.
Throwing dimes, as always.
A beast.
And they beat the Browns. The Browns are the Browns. I never liked the Browns roster. And I think the Chiefs are the favorite. They have to be the favorite in the AFC. Now, you can say whatever you want. Steelers are undefeated. They're the best team. Big Ben's going to win most improved player. Whatever you want to say. But they don't. They just don't have that feel to me. I'm not a football guy. I'll say that right now. But when I watch teams, I have to get a feeling that they can go somewhere. I don't get the feeling with the Steelers. I get the feeling with the Chiefs because they have Mahomes, they have Tyreek Hill, they have whoever else you want to name. They have Le'Veon Bell now. The team's a God squad. So I think that they're the best team. I think they're going to come out of the AFC and they're going to win the Super Bowl, just like I predicted before the season started.
All right, so here's the problem that I have.
Here we go.
We all know what Patrick Mahomes is. He's a god. Probably best player in the NFL. Face the NFL. We all know what Tyreek Hill went absolutely bonkers this
Dude,
past.
he had like 200 yards in the first quarter.
I have him in both of my fantasy leagues.
Oh, you cashed out
60 points.
Yeah.
Kid went off. But here's the problem I have with the Steelers. I'll walk you through the schedule that we're looking at here.
Yeah, let's hear it because I didn't back it up with
Listen,
the actual.
okay, so here we go. I'll go week by week. Week 1, Danny Dimes and the Giants win by 10. Okay.
They're a decent team. They're not good.
Week 2, the Broncos. Drew Lock, I guess, was their quarterback then.
I guess. Yeah.
Played terribly, beat him by 5. And the Broncos had a questionable time management decision late in the game, probably cost them the game. So if the Broncos had somebody with a mind at head coach, they probably would have won that game. So anyway, Steelers 2-0. Week 3 they play Houston. Good win, won by 7. Houston's nothing special though. Then they have a bye week because of Corona. Week 6 week 5, they played the Eagles. The Eagles suck. They won by 9. Week 6, Cleveland, they won by 31, but Cleveland's nothing special.
Yeah, they're a playoff team, but
Cleveland's Cleveland. They're nothing special. Week 7, win by 3 against Tennessee, where they held Derrick Henry to only 150 yards rushing. So good win, Steelers. Week 8, a 4-point win over Baltimore, which at the time was a good win because they did have Lamar Jackson and the gang. Week 9, they beat the Cowboys and Ben DiNucci. What a convincing win that is.
How much they win by?
5.
Not that much, yeah.
Against Ben DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci. Week 10, they are back home against the Bengals with a Joe Burrow-less Bengals. I think that was actually the game where Joe Burrow got hurt.
I think he got hurt in the first quarter of that game.
Yeah. They won by 26. So, Week 11, the Jaguars beat up on Jake Luton and the Jaguars, won by 24. And then the game against the third string roster of the Ravens, they won by 3.
So again, the only games I give them credit for are the first Ravens game, that was a good win, and the Titans game.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've played nobody.
And you want to hear the grueling schedule they have coming up?
Yeah, and again, tell them the schedule they have coming. All
right, so next week they play the football team. What a game that's going to be. Then week 14, probably one of their first real tests. They go to Buffalo to play the Bills. That's going to be a good game. I believe that's Sunday Night Football.
Ooh, that's good.
And then the week after that, they're going to Cincinnati to play on Monday night.
Joe Burrow's Bengals.
And then week 16 against the Colts. That's actually probably going to be a good game too because the Colts are in the running for the AFC South. And then week 17, wrap it up against who else but the Browns.
I don't think they go undefeated. I think they lose to the Bills. I think they lose to the Bills.
I think if you beat the Bills, I think you go undefeated.
If they beat the Bills, then yes. I don't think they lose to a different team.
I've never been less impressed by an undefeated team ever.
Never.
No, neither have I. But I think
defense is great. But if in this, and I mean this, I joke around and I'm silly. But if the refs want the Steelers to continue this thing and they want to win the Super, they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's what's going to happen because this league is such a joke. It sickens me. It really does. As a sports fan, I'm sick. But I don't know. We'll see how the calls fall. Really, that's what it's going to come down to.
Well, so if the Steelers do go undefeated, only one team in each conference will get a bye. So the Steelers, if they do go undefeated, I think they only need to lose. I think if they lose, they can afford to lose one game because I think the Chiefs have 2 losses right now or 1.
No, the Chiefs are 10-1.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so they probably can't afford to.
I watched First Take this morning.
Good job, Frank. Okay, so if the Steelers run the table, which is very possible they do if they beat Buffalo, they'll lock up the number 1 seed, in which they will further down the line lose to the Chiefs. Long story short.
Yeah. I don't even think they'll make it to the dance. I don't think they'll face the Chiefs.
Don't they make the AFC Championship game?
It's once again, and
the AFC isn't very strong this year.
It's not.
No.
Well, the Bills are a good team. The Bills are in the AFC. I don't remember. I think they're in the AFC. I always forget them. I always get them confused.
You got the Bills. The Bills are all right. The Titans can make a run if Derrick Henry.
The Colts are good.
The Colts they're decent. I mean, they've survived this long.
They're a good team. I don't think they'll make it to the AFC Championship game, but
there's a lot of teams that have very good records that aren't anything extremely special. Like the Steelers,
the Browns. The
Steelers should not be undefeated. The Ravens aren't anything special this year. Lamar Jackson's not Lamar Jackson.
Well, I don't think they're in the season ends today. I don't think they're in the playoffs.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
I think they will. I think they'll make it.
Ravens?
Yeah, the amount of wild card spots that the AFC has.
There's 3 now, isn't there?
Yeah. The Chargers won't go very far. I don't think Justin Herbert's ready for a postseason in the NFL. No. Who else we got? Yeah, Colts aren't anything special. Is that all the teams in the West? Broncos won't make it. The Raiders,
the Raiders are okay.
I like the Raiders, but they just
like the Raiders
out by the Falcons.
That's true.
Yeah, they got pummeled by the Falcons.
You never know.
Yeah, no, and I do like the Raiders.
It's the Chiefs conference to lose for sure.
The
Yeah.
Browns could get a wild card spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they will, but they don't
Eh.
have they don't have
And,
the whole season.
and don't look now, but the Dolphins are making a run.
Dolphins are playing well.
The
I'll
Dolphins,
give them that.
dude, just give Tua the rock, and Tua will take a team to the.
I believe they lost last week.
They did because they benched Tua.
Yeah, because they Fitz playing, right? Yeah.
Didn't they beat the Jets?
Yeah.
Oh wait, that was last week. It was the week before that they lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I knew.
But the Jets. Better question: do the Jets go winless?
Yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, first time we're gonna have an undefeated team and a winless team.
That's awesome.
I think so.
Should have been 2 winless teams. The stupid Jags had to snag that week 1 win.
That week 1, they haven't won since.
Those bums.
What are the Jets' schedule?
It's
Raiders, Seahawks, Rams, Jets, Browns, Patriots. Yeah, they're going winless.
They're not going to win a
They're
game.
they're not beating any of those teams.
Knowing the Jets, they're gonna fuck it up. Bill Belichick, big brain Bill,
Big
is gonna lose. So that the Jaguars get the number 1 overall pick and get Trevor Lawrence.
You know what I saw the other day? I saw the clip of Bill Belichick like calling timeouts at a Jets game when they're up like 30 and just like giggling on the sideline. That shit always cracks me up. It's so funny.
All right, last thing on the schedule for today. Brought it back after a few weeks. The top 5s are back.
Ooh.
This week we got creative because we have, with the college football playoff rankings coming out last week and starting to really the playoffs starting to really take shape, and we got college basketball now with a lot of teams getting talked about with rankings and stuff. I put together the top 5 college programs for both college football and basketball combined.
Do we mean like all time or just this season?
Just this season.
Okay.
Now I have my 5, but then I also have a 6 and 7, which are honorable mentions, but they were so close to being ranked that in the top 5 that I have a 6 and 7. So if you guys want to guess, it's a top 5, but it's also a top 7. Because I think there's also a really big drop off from 7 to 8. But
yeah. Okay.
So whoever wants to start, go ahead.
I'll just throw out Alabama, just so the obligatory Alabama.
Yeah, the obligatory Alabama is ranked number 5.
Fair.
Listen, you can't.
Best football team in the nation.
I don't like Alabama's basketball team. That's all I'm going to say.
You don't?
No, I think they're a good team. I just don't think they're. Well, I have to see what the rest of the list is, honestly. So we'll talk about it after. I don't know what the rest of the list looks like. So.
I think I could have really been biased with this and put Alabama in the top 3, but I didn't. I stayed realistic, and when you see this list, I think you will agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to argue right now because I don't know if the rest of the list
is. Number 1 ranked football team. It's not even close. And then for basketball, they are just outside the top 25.
Top 30.
Yeah, top 30. A loss to Stanford the other night hurt that. But
yeah.
Top 30 team. So Alabama's number 5. Eric? Or no, Frank, your turn.
My turn, yeah. Ohio State.
Ohio State's number 4. 4th ranked football team. And then a 23rd ranked basketball team. Ohio State has a good basketball team this year, so probably will get higher by the time we get to March. Mm-hmm. So you got 4 and 5, Eric.
Yeah, I'm not a big college sports guy, so
yeah, Eric doesn't.
Who just has a good football team? That's like
a lot.
I don't know. I'm in the college basketball mood. I already plugged Butler. Does Baylor have a decent football team? I'd say Baylor. I have no idea.
Baylor's not. No.
Back to you, Pederini.
Stay in the Big Ten. I'll go Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's number 1. A ranking of 16 in the college football playoff rankings, which they had a chance to really be good this year, but the amount of times they've happened to play teams that had a outbreak cost them to only play 3 games so far this year, which is very bad. So they dropped in the college football rankings because of that. I think they had a team to potentially play for a national championship this year and make the playoff. But that got hurt. And then college basketball, they're ranked number 4 right now.
Yeah,
It's a bit high, in my opinion.
it's high. What did I have in my last week? I think I had them like 7 last week or something. Like they're a good team, but I don't think they're top 5.
But yeah, they're number 1 all around because 16th ranked in football and 4th ranked in basketball. So you got 1, 4, and 5. Bender, back to you.
Trying
Florida.
not to carry today.
Oh, big time carry. Florida. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the basketball team isn't that good.
Wait, what was the guess?
Florida.
Florida's number 7 or an honorable mention if you want to say. Number 6 ranked football team should be number 5 or 4. And then kind of like Alabama, they're just outside that top 25. You could say.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I put them around like 35. I'll put them top 35. I'm putting top 30. Still a good team.
Yeah. So that would be an honorable mention, or number 7 that I have in my top 7. Petarini, up to you.
Team that I did not know had a good football team until last week, North Carolina.
Yeah. Number 2. Ranked 17 in the college football playoff rankings, should be higher. They had a bad loss a couple weeks ago, though, so that hurt them. And then the perennial powerhouse that is North Carolina basketball, ranked 14th in the nation so far. So
should be higher.
Yeah. So you guys have gotten 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. Missing number 3 and missing number 6.
Okay.
Bender.
Notre Dame? I don't know.
No.
It's good. Basketball team isn't good.
Basketball team has a lot to work on.
Gotcha.
You like the Ducks, Oregon.
Listen, you can't hate on the Ducks this year.
I can't. No, I can't.
Easy. This is one of those where it was easy. They're my number 3 team, just because they're one of the 4 teams that are actually ranked in both sports on this list. Ranked 23 in football and ranked 21 in basketball.
Which they could be out of the ranking in basketball because they lost last night. But
they did lose last night, but as of when I made this list,
yes. Yeah. Well, they're still in the top. They're still in this list. They just probably won't be ranked anymore, which is fine.
Yes. So that would be number 3. So Wisconsin number 1, North Carolina 2, Oregon 3, Ohio State 4, Alabama 5. You guys are missing number 6 and Florida 7.
I have a guess for number 6, but we'll let Eric go first.
Clemson.
No. Very bad basketball.
Eric's just guessing the top 5 teams in college football.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Listen, Eric, I'll give you a hint. If you keep doing that, you will never get this.
All right. Well, hopefully this is right because after this, I don't have any more ideas. Oklahoma State.
No. I considered it, but no.
Even with Cade? I like Cade.
Cade. Yeah, but the football team, I don't know. I think the basketball team needs to be more than Cade for them to be on this list. I think if they get a little better, I think they could definitely make it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just tell you guys since you guys.
Wait! I thought of one.
Okay.
Go along with Eric's idea, but the other sport. Iowa?
No.
Okay.
Iowa was another team I considered, but just not a good football year for them.
Then I'm out of ideas.
Michigan.
Oh.
Listen. They have a very good basketball program. And they lost last night, right? Did they win?
I think they won, but I'll check.
one of those Alabama, Florida teams that are outside the top 25. I think if you were to have a top 26, I think Michigan would be number 26 in the college basketball rankings. They also have
They didn't play last night. Was the night before them? They played recently.
They definitely played last night or 2 nights ago.
Oh, they're not the top 25 anymore. That's why I haven't set this top 25.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, probably the best team not ranked in college basketball, and then football. They need a new head coach. Jim Harbaugh is just not the answer there. So I think with a better head coach, I think that football team is a ranked team possibly. But
personally, I would have picked probably Iowa, just because how good their basketball team is. But
I think I would have put Oklahoma State over Iowa this year.
Matter of preference.
Yeah.
Again, because I mostly follow the college basketball, so
yeah.
And you mostly follow college football. So.
But yeah, that's top 5, top 7, or whatever. Anything else you boys want to talk about before we get off?
Nope. Excited for basketball season. Excited for college basketball. Keep going. Excited for the end of football season. I'm like Eric. See what happens. And baseball's right around the corner.
Eric's got a big draft to look forward to.
Yeah, like a lot of draft prep.
Listen, that quarterback up at Ohio State, Justin Fields, could be playing in Duval.
We'll see if he's marketable. Because if he's marketable, then they'll push him. And is it a coincidence the one time a small market team like Jacksonville makes a run is when, and I love Jalen Ramsey, I love him, but when the loudmouth just can't shut his mouth, like that guy just did not shut up. He trash talked everyone on the face of the earth, including his mom. That's when they were like, yeah, we like Jacksonville. We're going to give Jacksonville some calls now. And they're like, we're bored with them. Didn't make us enough revenue. That's what it came down to.
Yeah.
But I will say this, even if the refs were trying to rig it for my Jaguars this year, I don't think they'd be able to. That's how bad they are. I will say that.
No.
Yeah.
Roger Goodell could rig the draft a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. David Stern used to do the same thing.
Yeah, but it's not a lottery.
Yeah.
Oh, how's it work? Record?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Which isn't that just how it should be,
Yeah.
Like,
what if someone has the same record though?
Then there's a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Like if they played against each other and whoever lost or something?
I think there's
point differential, a bunch of different crap.
Okay.
No, I think it's very specific. I think it's the first tiebreaker is head-to-head
record,
and then it's division record.
Oh yeah.
And then there's it's not points. There's one more. And then if that one's tied, and then it's just a coin toss. Which actually happened a few years ago.
Yeah, it did. Forgot what teams, but yeah.
I think it was the Texans and the Colts, I believe.
Wow.
It was like the 15th
knowledge
pick, coin toss. It's pretty funny. Anyway, that'll wrap it up for this week. Big interview this afternoon with NASCAR Truck Series driver Rafael Lessard. Me and Frank will be on that. As for Eric, I guess we'll see you next week.
Yes, that's right.
Start of the NBA season.
Excited.
All right. For the boys, signing off. Adios.